Thank you, Eddie.
Thanks,
Always happy to
Eddie.
be here.
Great to be
Winding out 2021. Happy fall. It turned, it finally feels like winter's coming. We've been getting all those emails for the ski areas, and
I know. It's all of a sudden, right? And it's that time of year. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's such a fun time of year with the holidays.
Totally.
Right?
A lot of traditions. We're going to be kicking off a holidays at home. We know there's lots of different holidays coming up for people. And so Thanksgiving's sort of the kickoff, and we hope you've all had or have a great Thanksgiving. Had some good time with people and food. And
home is what we do. And home is special, and I think since the beginning of last year, I think home's changed for a lot of people and has become much more significant in people's lives. Working from home, just having a place for yourself.
Right.
And so, home's a big deal, and we're proud to be part of that. In a small way for people, and in doing those transactions and helping people buy and sell when they need to. But
that's right.
Anyway, so Tracy, we were talking about, these different parts of Albuquerque. I saw a national story was talking about, what are the most expensive places in the country, right? And I was like, well, okay, you and I know this, but I bet people are curious. What are the most expensive parts of Albuquerque? Where are the most expensive homes? And we could also talk about where are the most least expensive homes as well. And so I ran the numbers. And I'm sure you probably know.
I haven't seen the numbers, but I could guess.
Yeah, well,
I know we always like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, most expensive, a couple things come to mind,
Sure.
right? Far northeast, Corrales, Placitas.
Yep. Good job so far.
So 87122, 87048.
So 87122, if people aren't familiar with it, that is the area that is basically North Albuquerque Acres and Sandias Heights. Right?
Yep.
The next one is 87048, which
Corrales.
is Corrales.
I bet the next one is 043, Placitas.
Yep. Placitas is next. Yep. And then 043 and then 047, which is East
Sandia
Mountain.
Park.
Yeah, East
That's
Mountain.
North 14 up a ways, not Cedar Crest to Harris, but Sandia Park.
And then 87008, which is Old Town, I believe.
No, that's a 104.
Oh my gosh, now I feel.
008. I was going to say that's like.
Oh wow, now I feel really silly.
Bernalillo?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Cedar Crest. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah. So it's East Mountains also, and then and then 87059 also
to Harris.
East Mountains. Yep. And then 87111, which is
far
kind
northeast.
of what we consider the kind of the traditional far northeast heights. That's like Tanawan and everything around there.
A lot of the La Cueva School District.
Yeah, north of Montgomery.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. And then we get into the North Valley. And just kind of on down the list, then like 87114, which is the northwest.
Paradise Hills.
Paradise Hills. Not really Taylor Ranch, I guess, but mostly Paradise Hills, some of the newer areas. So, it's interesting. It definitely seems, and I think we see that, right, Tracy, as we're looking around the city. There's certain pockets where there's some, very expensive homes, North Valley. Far northeast Heights, Sandia Heights, and North Albuquerque Acres. So, very, very interesting. If we look at the most active zip codes and the most
in the most sales,
it's interesting because
North Rio Rancho.
Yeah, this year it was North Rio Rancho with over 1,600 homes year to date through November.
Interesting. And second is 87120, which is southwest and a little bit over I-40 west of Coors.
Still considered northwest, but it's just
southwest.
120. Oh, I'm thinking of 121. Yeah, got it.
It's southwest and a little bit over I-40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then
Most
87144. So you think about, the areas where there is a lot of homes, right?
114, yeah, Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And then South Rio Rancho. So, yeah, so those are all very hot and a lot of newer neighborhoods, in the last 20 years in those areas, for sure.
And when we look at, the buyer's market versus seller's market and, what are the hottest zip codes in town, what we see are the zip codes like 87120. And, again, it's these places where the prices are a little more moderate.
Right.
Are going to be the most active.
Well,
you're going to see the most competition for homes that come on the market, right?
Right. Of course, if you think of a pyramid, right, of our home prices, the highest price homes are going to be the least amount of sales, right?
Correct, of course.
And the ones that are most affordable, obviously, will be the most or bulk of the sales.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No.
it only makes sense.
For sure.
We don't have to be like really smart to figure that out.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. Tracy, I saw a story that had a list of top trends that are being expected for 2022.
In homes.
In homes. Well, and just in real estate in general, not in homes. I'm not talking about like design trends. No. I'm just talking about the real estate world. The whole world. And so there's a list here, as well as I threw a couple other in here that I thought were pretty interesting. But first off, the trend is values, home values. Everybody is expecting it. I say everybody, I should rephrase that. Most of the experts that are, look at this stuff every day in the real estate world, project that home prices will continue to rise across the country next year.
And our regular listeners will know all the reasons why.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? They know because interest rates are predicted to go up some. We know that we're not expecting a lot more homes on the market, and there's a lot of buyers still waiting for homes. There are not a lot of houses in foreclosure about to hit the market.
Yep.
And even if 2 million across the United States came on the market, it wouldn't make it unhealthy.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So for all those reasons, home prices will continue to rise.
Yeah. The one projection is that the rate of appreciation will slow a little bit, which we need, because really this double-digit annual price appreciation is just not healthy. It's not. And along with that, just to as part of that, as home prices go up, rents are expected to continue to go up as well.
Right.
And
speaking of rents, Audrina Sweet from our team was featured this week. She manages an apartment complex in addition to doing residential real estate, and she got featured on the news this week on TV, and it was awesome to see that. So.
Yeah. No, it was. It's interesting because KRQE did that story about, the rents going up. And, we actually did that story last week on the radio show. So I don't know if you're KRQE listening, get your radio topics here, or get your
TV topics.
Your TV topics here on the radio.
Some other trends for 2022?
Yeah, some other trends is just tech adoption. But I think we all realize that that's everywhere. That there's just going to be more and more tech in everything we do. Just so people understand, in the real estate world, I think a lot of people know about the virtual tours and different ways to view homes and the way homes are marketed and shown, right, Tracy?
Right.
That's pretty popular. Other stuff that's coming into real estate much stronger now is artificial intelligence, things like reading, being able to actually read or look at photos of homes for sale and glean some data from that'll help home buyers. So there's a lot going on there.
We talked about this a few years ago, Tego, and it's so much more possible now, and that's where the computers are reading the photos that you're lingering on the most. So when you're doing home searching online and you're looking at pictures, and there's the artificial intelligence says, wow, you've looked at this house 4 times. I'm going to find you other houses with photos similar, so that maybe the color palette or the kitchen or whatever is similar, is what pops in front of you.
It's all spooky stuff, and I'm sure people are cringing out there listening to this. And but it's here, and it's happening, and we know We know that those, home search websites use different types of technology to do that, to help serve you up homes that maybe, appeal to you.
Right. It's that whole, they're following you. This is off topic, but I had read an article this week about Apple, and they're developing the EV car, the electric vehicle, and it's autonomous, pilot, no driverless. And it was crazy to me that it said that within 5 years they plan to have this vehicle on the road. And it said that there will not be a steering wheel, gas pedal, brake pedal, and that the seats will face each other. You won't even be looking out the front. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. But, think about how far we've come in just 2 years since the pandemic hit, how much we've all embraced things, and things have changed much more quickly than we ever thought possible. Anyway,
that
off
is
topic.
True. That is true. And speaking of tech, let me just make one story here, or tell a story. Is in New Mexico, notarizing. Tracy, you're a certified,
I'm a notary public.
Notary public, right? And in New Mexico, starting at the beginning of 2022, you will be able to do electronic notarizing of documents.
Right, e-signing.
So, e-signing, but actually notarizing. I mean, we've had e-signing.
E-notarizing.
Yeah.
Which is great. I've been watching the Secretary of State's website, and you have to go back through training and get a new notary stamp to be able to do all that. And right now, I haven't been able to find that it's even available yet for me to get trained on and get my new credentials for it. But I'm watching for it because, boy, that has been so handy for us in other states and with some of our clients when they've needed to sign, and they allow e-notary in those states. And that notary's online. They look at your ID online. They're with you. They tell you where to sign.
We've personally done some of that, Tracy, and to me, it seemed like it was almost more secure than in many ways. So anyway, that's coming. Again, back we're talking about trends in real estate for 2022, and one of the things that's coming to New Mexico is
e-notary.
E-notary.
So one other thing, Tego, that I'm thinking is 2022 is the work from home is not going away.
No. It appears, all the surveys, all the stuff, the companies that do recruiting online, like, ZipRecruiter and
Indeed
and
Wise
all
Hire.
of the Wise Hire. All those, they, do tons of surveys, and they're looking at, what the application or what the what employers job requirements are. And one of the things is, work from home has gone up quite a bit, and it's going to be it's here to stay, basically.
Of course, there's lots of service jobs that you can't work from home.
Of course.
And a lot of businesses where you can. It's interesting because we were talking with someone who is interviewing right now, and it's a type of position that can be done from home, and a major corporation was saying, no, we want you in office. So there may be some companies where they're saying, nope, we do want you coming in office, or at least in area, because right now we know there's a lot of people who are on teams where their teammates are all over the world now, and they don't have to move for a job. But I think, maybe some will still require you to move so you can have those occasional in-person meetings, but not every day.
Well, and just one last thing on the work from home thing, that has driven a lot in the housing market, and people needing to get a different home so that they could have a home office or a place to work from. And, there's these auxiliary dwelling units that you can buy, so you can have like an office in your backyard. It's like a little tiny house office.
Right.
And so there's a lot of that stuff going on, and it looks like that trend's going to continue.
Off topic again, we were on a Google Meets with a really high-level executive this past week, and their baby started crying and their dog started barking. It was pretty funny. I was like, he goes, I need to step aside for a moment and close my door. I'm like, you didn't have your door closed before? And then it was like the dog. It was sort of ironic. It's the world now.
It's the way it is. Yeah, for sure. Another trend that's, if you've been listening to us, we've been talking about it for a long time, which is the millennial buyers. And in 2021, it definitely millennials that generation, that cohort, has dominated 2021 and is probably going to dominate it even more in 2022 as home buyers.
There's 72 million in that category. They're obviously a huge segment of who's ready to buy a house. And I believe that the average income of the millennial cohort right now is about $88,000 a year, probably in their joint between two people working together to be able to be in a position to buy a house. And that's awesome. We expect a lot of them to be buying in 2022, just like they were this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. One thing that I saw that I thought was interesting, and I've seen this in a few different places, is that the new construction, we keep saying we need more houses, keep building. But there are a lot of projections that the amount of new homes being built is going to stay pretty stagnant, that it's not like we're going to suddenly have this building boom like we had in 2004 and 5, right? There's just so many constraints on building right now, from availability of lots, availability of materials, availability of labor, cost of all of those things have gone up, and so there's a certain point where a buyer just says, no, I can't spend $500,000 on a basic, entry level home, right?
Or I can't wait 14 months or some unknown date for that house to be built.
So there's some projections that the new construction, single family home construction is going to stall a little bit, but there's also projections that multifamily is going to boom a little bit because of the need for just housing. We just don't have enough in this whole country. So I thought that was interesting. And then the last thing that I was thinking about is there's going to be coming out a lot of different creative, I want to say creative, but financing ways to purchase homes that aren't the traditional, how do I want to say this? There's going to be ways to help people buy homes and sell homes that have never existed before. And so what I mean by that is if somebody, Tracy, you and I were just at that conference here a few weeks ago that's all the venture capital people in the real estate world that come together and talk about all this tech in both property technology as well as financial technology in the mortgage world. And there's a ton of innovation going on there. And I know as soon as you start saying creative financing for real estate, people cringe because they think about, what happened back in the day with the subprime and all that, right? But there's these solutions out there where somebody can hire a company to buy their home, before they sell their home. So when they go to buy the next home, they're a cash buyer. Right. That's just one solution. There's a bunch of different products out there for these kind of bridge loan products, right? To allow, again, somebody to buy and sell and have some sort of financing in place. That is booming right now. We're going to see more and more of that. The other thing is the government, and if I follow all these stories that related to real estate. Federal government is doing a lot of stuff. They realize that there is a quote, air quote, housing crisis. We don't have enough homes. Homes prices are going up faster than is logical, and so there's going to be programs coming out to help first-time home buyers, minority home buyers, helping, maybe distressed neighborhoods to bring those neighborhoods up. There's a lot coming, not just from the private sector and venture capital, but also expect some stuff from federal government for housing programs.
So there it is.
There's my projections, or our projections, and all the experts that we follow. Projections.
Right.
For real estate in 2022, Tracy. What else was on our list today? Oh, yes, home inspections.
Oh, my goodness. So we've talked about home inspections before, but today we're going to talk about what home inspectors, the general home inspection, the one who does the full house from roof to outside of the home, what things they don't inspect. And, it's good because a list recently came out. New Mexico instituted a home inspector licensing
requirement.
Program.
Yeah.
It's a requirement. So home inspectors went and got licensed, which many of them were, or they were members of large national companies
Correct.
that made sure that they knew what they were doing. But now there's licensing in place. So along with that came a really good list of things that they don't look at, right?
Well,
what they're
it
not
actually,
responsible for, basically.
The list it's a 14-page document, and it literally lists what they do and what they don't do. But we just wanted to summarize some of the things that they don't do, because
Right.
we've seen that where, somebody will say, well, why didn't they look at the irrigation line? Yeah,
and
the sprinklers. Right.
It's just something that they don't look at. It's not a part of the general home.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't. So let's go through some of them.
Sure.
I know a big one, Tego, without looking at the list, is that they don't necessarily do a code inspection, right? They don't check things to make sure they're up to code today.
Right.
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 Because building codes change, regularly.
Well, you just think about just like a hot water heater, for example. That's changed so many times. And so, if you have a hot water heater that was installed 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's going to be very different than if you're getting installed today. So they're not saying that hot water heater isn't up to the current code, because when it was done, it was probably done to code, or should have been.
And they can't expect the home inspector to know every code change.
Correct,
so they're looking for general hazards. They're looking for things that could be a problem, but they're not doing code work, so to speak.
Yeah.
The other thing I know that they don't do, because I've been at a lot of home inspections, is they don't usually light appliances or turn things on in general if it's not on. So if the furnace isn't on and it's time the furnace should be on, they won't light. If the pilot light isn't lit, they're not going to light the pilot light.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And fireplaces, same thing. They typically don't inspect fireplaces. And if it's a gas fireplace and the pilot light isn't lit, they're not going to light it. If it's a switch on the wall, they'll probably turn it on, but they're not going to do a thorough fireplace.
And let me just address that, because you said fireplace. Well, I want to get my fireplace inspected. Well, there's people that do that. Right. There's fireplace specialists that will look at a fireplace and think about, sewer lines, right? So scoping a sewer line with a camera to see if it's good, right? The standard general home inspection doesn't do that, but you can hire somebody to do that. Septic tank's another example, right? It's a specialist that's going to do that.
Right. You think about fireplaces, and it's not just if it's a gas one or a wood burning one, but there's the whole chimney all the way up.
Sure.
And so, somebody inspecting the chimney in addition to just the fireplace unit, right? And they typically don't do that. So the other things that they don't do, Tego?
I mean, in general, and this is kind of cover the whole thing. They don't take things apart. They don't poke into walls. They don't dismantle stuff. They don't do anything that could hurt the property either, right? So it's any of those things. They're not gonna pull the dishwasher and unscrew it and take it all apart to see what's going on in the back, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're not gonna run or turn something on that isn't operating in its normal sense. So this is an extreme example, but I'll give it to you anyway. So there's a garbage disposal, right? And they flip the switch on the wall and the garbage disposal doesn't come on, right? Well, they look under the sink and it's not plugged in. Okay, they'd probably plug that in, right, and turn it on, right, to see if it works. But that's an example right there. That's a very extreme example, but the normal operating way to do it is you flip the switch on the wall or the counter and turn on the disposal. And if it doesn't work, then they write down disposal didn't work.
Operate. Yeah.
Right. They don't change light bulbs. They don't do anything like that as well. Another example. So
totally.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've seen quite a bit, we don't have a lot of crawl spaces here, but we have attics in a lot of our homes, and a few homes have crawl spaces. But if the space isn't large, they're not going to go in. They'll maybe put their head in and shine a flashlight or something, but they're not going to put on their coveralls and go into a crawl space that's not adequately sized, or they're not going to go into a roof attic if it's not adequately sized. So, it's a tough one, but we have seen a lot of, especially the pest inspectors. I've seen them put on their coveralls and come out covered in cobwebs and say, boy, there's a lot of black widows
A lot of
down
black
there.
widows in there, yeah.
Yeah.
We hear that one.
But that's
yeah.
only when there's enough room for them to do that.
Yeah, and I think in general, Tracy, in this conversation is that, the home inspection, the general home inspection is intended to give a full scope of the
Visual,
great way to put it.
They do turn on things. So if there's a dishwasher, they'll run it, right?
Right.
They'll check a furnace. They'll check an air conditioning unit if the outside temperature allows, because they can't turn it on if it's too cold outside. For a regular refrigerated air conditioner, they just can't. It could damage the unit and
the temperature,
freeze it up. So lots of things that we're wanting to make sure that our clients, when it's a full home, they know this is what they do, this is what they don't do. So there's a new 14-page document that kind of covers what they do and what they don't do. But most home inspectors have their own disclosures too. The other thing to remember, Tego, about home inspections is it's a snapshot of time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right?
Yep.
This is the house the moment that home inspector went through it. And right when they leave, something could break. I mean, very next day, something stops working, right? So they say they don't warrant anything. They don't provide a bunch of warranties, coverage, anything. They're just saying, at this time, this is what I found the house to be in the condition of. They don't go into a bathroom and remove a tile and make sure there's no mold behind the bathtub surround, or, it's what they can see visually. And so not all things are found. If somebody has a concern about mold, there's a mold tester person you can get out there, right?
Yeah, well, we have this long list of, of all the different types of inspections that you can get, that we go through when we're, somebody's looking at a home to generally, though, you're going to get a full home inspection.
Right.
And I would never recommend that somebody not get a full home inspection, even if they've already agreed to accept the home as is.
Right.
Meaning they're gonna just accept it no matter what they find. You still want to know what you're dealing with, right?
Right.
You still want to know what the condition of the property is. And then the other inspection we generally see happening is a
termite.
Wood destroying insect is the proper term, but basically the termite inspection, wood destroying insect, and possibly a dry rot inspection with that's just checking wood for wood damage. So
yeah,
that's anyway. There's a long list, and we could spend an hour going through it, but there's a lot to look at.
There is. So before we run out of time,
Homes
of the week, we suggest just give us a ring, 448-8888. Lots of homes available coming soon. Best to find out what's happening now with the pace of home sales. Easiest to call us, tell us what you're looking for, let us do some searching and bird dogging for you and find you that great house. And if you're thinking of selling, yes, during the holidays, it's still a great time to sell, Eddie. We've got a lot of buyers waiting for that house.
Yeah, a lot of downtime too, and who knows what's going to happen. And why not sign up for the email list with Tego and Tracy and know about the homes before the rest of the market knows about the homes? And why not give them a call, let them know what you're looking for. They'll go shopping for you, and then they'll know that you're ready to go, and then, submit an offer day one. That's the way to do it. So get prepared. 505-448-8888. That's 505-448-8888 or welcomehomeabq.com.